Actually, a little chillier. One of these nights it's supposed to get down to like -31. That's, yeah, Marge, that's cold. That's really cold. So bundle up, stay warm, stay inside if you can, would be my advice. Lineup today is going to be Wyatt, Coach Larsen, and Eric will bring us up, will hit cleanup for us today. Thank you to the Cambria for hosting us today. This is great. They're a great partner for Hardrocker Athletics. And again, thanks for all you coming. I want to say special thanks to everybody that contributed and helped with the Daniel Vaughn Scholarship. We raised $30,000 in Daniel's name that'll go towards a men's basketball scholarship, endowed men's basketball scholarship. Yes. Fantastic. And this weekend was a really nice weekend. We raised $4,030. We took the ticket revenue and with other donations, it was great. And the hope is obviously that we're going to continue to grow it over the next few years, and obviously the more we raise, the more we can generate out on the other end. So I'll start. Does anybody have any questions for me at all about anything that's been going on, or what the future holds for? I don't know if I can answer that. I don't have a crystal ball, but okay. Then I'm going to turn it over and get Wyatt up here, and then once Wyatt's done, Ryan will come up and Eric will come up, and I'll close her all out. Thank you.
All right, cool. So I'll try to keep this short so we can hear about the successes with basketball. We had a tough match over the weekend with escorts against Washington University in St. Louis. We picked up a substitute player last week, Brett Rankin, who also plays on the football team, so that's pretty cool to see that crossover. And so he was starting for us on Saturday during our best-of-3 match. We managed to take game 2 to force it to game 3, and that was largely thanks to Brett Rankin, who came in and really stepped up, really honestly hard carried this match for us, brought us to game 3. So that was cool to see that we could throw in a substitute player and get a win like that. We did eventually end up dropping game 3 because Washington University, they came back with a strategy that countered our game 2 strategy, so it was kind of hard for us. They were also a higher seed team than us, so it was kind of an uphill battle already. But yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool to get Brett into a game. I know hopefully we can see him subbed into some other games as the season goes on. So that one win that we picked up in game 2 was pretty big because that is taken into consideration when they're doing the team seeding. So now out of in our North Conference, there's 83 teams. And out of maybe the 30 teams that have a 1 win and 1 loss rating or record, we're ranked 3rd amongst those teams. Just because we picked up that 1 win in game 2 over the weekend. So that was pretty awesome that Brett was able to step up and really help us become a higher seed for this weekend, which is the first weekend where we are the higher seed, which means that we get side selection during our match. So shout out to Brett. This weekend we play Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis. And yes, that is just one school name. So we are the higher seed, which is nice. So we're pretty confident going in, but we know we have our work cut out for us because we've done some scouting on this team already, and they have a pretty powerful lineup. I mean, their school population is like double or triple ours, so just dealing with that in general, usually we can expect to be playing a pretty solid team. Because school population is, you can kind of see how competitive a team is going to be based off, how many students are at their school. Okay. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. We'll play again this Saturday at 2 p.m. Once again, that's Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis. Any questions?
Are there any national rankings that would tell you who's number 1, who's number 2,
I don't know if there's any official rankings or how those could be official. but I'm sure you could find some power rankings. I'm sure they'd have a bunch of schools in California at the top. Yeah, I'm sure there's some rankings out there. I'm not too familiar with the sources for those though.
Volleyball teams and football teams, basketball teams do hours and hours of prep
Yeah.
each week. How many hours a week do you guys prep?
So we practice 4 days a week, well, like mandatory practice, where we'll meet up in the esports facility for 2 hours a week, and usually we'll scrimmage other schools. We'll play a best of 3 against another school, which is the best way to practice, but sometimes it's hard to schedule those scrimmages right when we want to practice, because we like to hold our practice times to when they are, and we don't want our practice times being everywhere, flying around depending on when we can find scrimmages. So yeah, usually we'll practice 4 days a week with scrimmages, and then Saturday, our matches are on Saturdays, right? But this is just the practice that's mandatory. A lot of these players are playing on their own, because right, with League of Legends, you can just go home, log into your computer, and start competing against people all across the world. So yeah, we have like 8 hours of practice during the weekday, but a lot of these players are playing on their own for many more hours. All right, well, thank you guys, and I guess it's Coach Larsen.
start playing good basketball. Start playing with a lot of effort and a lot of energy, so she can have some good memories this last month of the season. You know, the younger kids, you're working on getting better. Okay, we are working on getting better, and then just a culture building experience for us. You know, that again, I said it just a few minutes ago. I've been so proud of the way that we've competed. All right, with 7 bodies, with 8 bodies throughout the season. Where that's culture building stuff that's going to help us in the following years. Okay, and that was probably the biggest thing that we wanted to discuss and get taken care of Friday. All right, I don't care if we win or lose. You know, yeah, we all want to win. Don't get me wrong. We all want to win. But you know, if we do lose, we want to be proud of our effort and proud of the way we play when we walk off the court. And our young ladies would admit that we probably didn't put our best effort forward, especially that second half against Metro. Credit to Metro, they're a really good team. They're playing very good basketball right now. You know, as far as a breakdown of the game, you know, they scored 70 points, shot 52% from the field, which is pretty good numbers. Okay, but a lot of those points, all right. The two biggest things that we need to take care of that game were offensive rebounds. We need to rebound the ball better, okay, and we need to take care of the basketball. They scored 45 of their 70, all right, off of offensive rebounds and our turnovers. Okay, so those are things that we have to take care of right there. That's a really high number of, you know, things that we can control that will affect the game. So 45 of their 70, all right. Yeah, we had a lot to do with that. We got to get better at that. You know, there's been a couple weeks now, a number of games where we've gotten beat on the glass pretty handily, and we've given the teams a lot of opportunities from our turnovers. So we put that behind us. You know, that wasn't one that we would just kind of wanted to wad up and throw aside. You know, we wanted that to, you know, kind of, we want to remember that game a little bit and remember that we did not put our best effort forward. But, you know, again, credit to the kids. I tell you what, when we walked in the locker room getting ready for film Saturday morning for Shadron, I knew we had a different energy about us. You could just tell that they were locked in. They were peppy. You know, it was a nice scout for us because Metro and Shadron are pretty similar offensively. So we didn't have to go into great detail of how we wanted to guard Shadron's offense. And I had a pretty good idea we were going to play a lot of zone. So that helped us too. That helped us quite a bit. The one thing about Shadron's zone offense is it's a little different than anything we've guarded this year. And so, you know, Coach Richter had a fantastic plan of just how we wanted to take away their zone offense. We had to guard a little differently than what our normal zone slides are, our normal matchups, and the kids did a really good job of picking up on that and taking away where they wanted to catch the basketball. Our zone defense was phenomenal Saturday, absolutely phenomenal. But back to our shoot-around, I can't fail to mention this. So we had a really good shoot-around. After every shoot-around, we shoot half quarters, like most teams do, and we have a running tally throughout the year. It's a competition between the coaches and the players, and a running total of, you know, how many half quarters we make throughout the year. And going into that game or that shoot-around, were we tied, Coach? Is that what it was? Were we tied with the players?
No, I think we were up 1.
We were up 1. Okay. But the other rule is, us coaches, anybody around, we can recruit to help shoot with us, okay? So it's myself, Coach B, Coach Richter, and then usually Christina Burke, our trainer, against all the players. So we're outnumbered pretty good there. So the rule is we can recruit whoever we want to shoot half quarters for us. Well, the football staff, all right, they had some recruits on campus Saturday morning as we were shooting around. Coach Dixon and Coach Tinker were kind of outside there watching them shoot around a little bit, and we recruited them to come shoot with us. Coach Dixon puts one up. Boy, it was just right off the mark. I thought it was going in. But true to Coach Tinker form, like a boss, he rolls up, takes off his suit coat, lays it down, nice and beautiful, rolls out there to half court, puts one up, starts walking away, and goes in to give us the lead. When that shot went in, I knew it was going to be a great day. I knew it was going to be a great day. But now we have the lead, thanks to Coach Tinker, and we're going to win that. You know, we have never won a half-court challenge, so this is the year for sure. But yeah, when Coach Tink sank that half-court, we're good. We're good. the first half of the Shattering game, we kind of put offense back a little bit as far as a basketball standpoint. We were not very good offensively. Not running great actions, not getting to our screens, not passing the ball very well. If there's one thing that we have to get fixed this remaining few weeks of the season is, boy, our passing is just, it's not very crisp. We're missing a lot of scoring opportunities. From my standpoint, it was kind of hard to watch offensively. I love holding opponents to 20 points in the first half. I love that, but I'd rather have more than 22 points, that's for sure. One thing that we told the young ladies, hey, we're not going to win this game scoring in the 40s. All right, we got to get some offense going. And it's kind of hard for me to explain. It's kind of hard to how I explain it to the team even. Or we had 15 turnovers at halftime, and from my point of view, Coach Bonlander's point of view, and Coach Richter as well, it seemed like a lot of our turnovers, we never want to turn the basketball over, but we were just so hesitant in making an aggressive play by, aggressive passing it to someone open, where we were holding on the ball a little bit more than what we wanted to. And that, not being aggressive and kind of being cautious and, just not letting it rip, for a lack of better terms, really led to a lot of turnovers for us. Just cautious, uncharacteristic turnovers for us. And we can't be afraid to make plays, ladies. We cannot be afraid to make plays. Now, even though we end up with 25 turnovers for the game, 10 the second half, I guarantee you that 5 of those turnovers, they were good aggressive passes. They were the right pass. We just didn't make the play. Whereas our 15 turnovers in the first half, they were just really, really cautious, passing it late, that type of stuff. So I was much more pleased with our passing in the second half, and our assists went up too, and that obviously allowed us to score quite a few more points. I'm not sure what we scored in the second half, but our percentages are really good. Those are two good things to put points on the board, obviously. So I was pleased with this offense for the second half, that's for sure. Really pleased. Great. Taylor Molstead was good. Very good offensively. One young lady that I really got to point out to, Molly McCabe, in that Shattering game, I don't know how many, 6 to 8 just really, really good effort plays, hustle plays. If it's offensive rebounds or going and getting loose balls that gave us extra possessions offensively, or rotating defensively, that type of stuff. Getting a weak side box out in our zone. Those are plays that, they don't show up in the box score, but they were huge for us. Molly had a really good game for us there. Molly hadn't been playing well, so that was a really big boost for us. To bounce back from the way we played Friday to Saturday against the team, again, I talked about Shattering at length last week, where they were 1-3 in 2 weeks. The 3 games that they won 1 game, lost 3 in the last 2 weeks up until this weekend. The 3 losses that they had, all right, by a combined 7 points, and 2 of those games were on basically buzzer beaters. And they beat a really good Colorado Mines team. Shattering's a good team. They really, really scared me. They did. They got about 5 different kids that throughout the season have put up 20 points or more in a game. So either one of those kids could really have a big night for them offensively. And we guarded them very, very well. I said to Richard Anderson in the paper, you might as well start calling me Jim Boeheim Jr. as much as I'm loving our 2-3 zone right now. And our kids, they just played really, really well. Sammy Stefik is tremendous up top there. She's long, she gets in passing lanes. She's getting a lot of steals, but more, just as nice as those steals are, I don't know how many deflections she's had since we played zone. And she's just so disruptive up there. Same thing with Taylor on the baseline. Michaela Shackley had a tremendous game defensively. I think she ended up with 4 steals Saturday. So our kids are really comfortable in that zone. We're playing it very, very well. But we're going to need to keep our offense going. All right. We have seen really good flashes, but the biggest thing right now is we just got to continue to pass the ball better. We got to take care of it. Anytime we're 20+ turnovers, it doesn't bode well for us at all. It's tough to win games that way. And I've talked a couple, about the past 2 weeks of just how thin our margin of error is right now. And those are the two things that we have to take care of. Take care of the basketball and offensive rebounds for us to continue to play good ball and hopefully get better throughout this season and get some more victories. Good test this weekend, long road trip, starting off at Highlands. We played them very well the last time here. Looking forward to that game. Counter right now, we'll probably play 40 minutes of zone, looking forward to it. So we're going to be concentrating heavily on our offense this week. Again, a lot of passing, a lot of shooting, throwing people open, getting the ball where we want to. And then tough, obviously Saturday night against Pueblo, who, one of those games, I just looked at the stat sheet before we came here, the score wasn't very indicative of how we played. Okay, 18 offensive rebounds, we gave up 25 turnovers, and there's the difference. Again, we can take care of those two things, we'll be in there, and we'll have a chance to win it at the end. That's about what I got. Kind of repeat myself from week to week here, but the biggest thing is I just feel really good about our mentality right now, especially the way we bounced back from Friday's game, where we knew we didn't put our best effort forward, to Saturday's game, where we really showed, the heart and the character that our young ladies are capable of doing, and the character of a Hardrocker women's basketball player. So very proud of our kids and the way we bounced back. Any questions for me, Mr. Lucan? Yes.
Do we have any RMAC awards this week?
Ah, yeah. Gosh, I forgot. Thank you. That's why you're here, to remind me of what I forget. Thank you.
One of the few.
One of the many. I'll admit it. One of the many. Yeah, Anna Haugen was Women's Basketball Defensive Player of the Week. Great honor for her. That's Anna's freshman year. She got Offensive Player of the Week one time. Now she's doubled up and got Defensive Player of the Week. I know she had 17 rebounds against Shadron. I think she averaged 13 rebounds for the weekend, that's a tremendous number. A tremendous number. Anna's got that. She's a rebounding specialist. She really is. Tom Mann and I talk about her a lot at halftime of Coach Glenn's game. Mr. Mann's seen a lot of basketball, a lot of basketball in his day. He just is so impressed with the way Anna rebounds, and we are too. That's one thing when we were recruiting her. She's got a knack for knowing where the ball is going, and that's a special rebounder. But then after that, it's a lot of effort plays. All right, she goes outside of her area to go chase down basketballs. You just don't see a lot of kids do that anymore. One with the knack to know where the ball's coming off the rim and going and getting it, and then be able to have the effort to go get rebounds outside of her area. So very happy for Anna, especially missing a couple weeks the way she did, come back and get Defensive Player of the Week. Great honor for her. Anything else for me? John?
Before Cooper got hurt, it was nice to see her come off the bench. She could throw some shots up and drain a couple of threes and get things going. It was nice to see Michaela Shackley come off the second half.
Yeah.
She had a little spurt there of about 2 or 3 minutes where she drained a couple threes, made some free throws, and it kind of separated us a little bit. I'm hoping that she can continue to do that coming off the bench.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, and that's what we need Michaela to do.
Yeah.
We were starting her a few weeks ago, and not that she's not capable of starting, she's more than capable of starting and doing very, very well. But her best role is that role, that kind of Cooper had before, to be that instant energy offensively for us off the bench, where she'd come in and be aggressive, knock down a three, get to the rim, get some free throws, that type of deal. Sometimes that's just better for players. Molly McCabe's the same way. I've had conversations with Molly about that. She's more comfortable kind of feeling the game out before she comes in, watching how are they guarding the post, that type of deal. And then going in and being a spark for us. Then, our lineup change has helped both those kids. Anna Kumbalia and Michaela has helped our team tremendously. But I was very happy with Shaq. Again, another big character move on. She didn't play very well on Friday night either. To come back and just have a good offensive, aggressive game for us. That was very nice.
It was also nice to see Melissa Johnson. She's
Yeah.
hard-nosed girl. I'll tell you what, she knocked that.
I did get a chance to look at that foul.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a foul or not.
it wasn't dirty by any means, you know, and Coach Glenn and I have talked about this a lot, you know, in college basketball now, the new rule set is any time that there is an elbow to, you know, upper body region area, the officials are going to take a look at it. And I could walk back to John right now and run into his elbow, and the officials are going to take a look at it, and it's going to be, you know, a flagrant foul. I don't know how I feel about it. I understand the rule, but it certainly wasn't dirty. Unfortunate, but I do side with the officials. They made the right call there, even though there was no intent there whatsoever. But Melissa's a great player. And that's one thing I've kind of talked about earlier. Hey, you young kids, you're getting better right now. All right, you have to use our experience right now to get better and continue to get better. And Melissa's certainly doing that. Anna is too. You know, I've been very, very pleased with those two youngsters and the way they're competing right now. We're kind of throwing them to the wolves. You know, it's not easy, right? Play when you're 18 years old, especially this time of year. Okay, after Christmas, that's usually the length of a high school season that kids have played coming to college. All right, by the time you add together our games and practices and preseasons, by Christmas time, that's a full high school season. All right, this time of year for a freshman is really difficult because, you know, it's kind of that the grind is real now for them because the season is so long. Well, I went a lot of different directions there, but I'm really good at that. Any other questions for me? Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate coming out. Cambria does a great job. A great weekend for the men's team getting 2 big W's. That game Friday night was unbelievable. Troy Brady making a big time play. All those guys are really excited the way they're playing right now. But I appreciate your guys' support. The gym was rocking this weekend. It was a lot of fun. The energy was there. Again, we got a great pet band. I love our pet band. They really bring it. Man, they have a lot of fun. They bring me a lot of juice the way they get after it. Our cheer squad is really improving too. I really respect the efforts that they're putting in. Those guys are fantastic and just bringing a lot of juice and a lot of energy to the King Center, which we can only get better, improving on. And Brad and all his toys with the new video board and stuff like that, we're just at the tip of the iceberg there, what we got going on there. But thank you guys for your support. We're going to continue to get better. Thanks for all you do.
All right, well, as Ryan alluded to, we had a great weekend, very exciting weekend for us. We finally came through on Friday night and had a ball bounce the right way for us on a shot, and so that felt good. Obviously, great win against a really good Metro team. You know, going in, we really felt like Metro, you know, and us were pretty evenly matched and matched up with each other pretty well. They had some young players that they were playing. We had some young players that we were playing. And I think both teams are kind of just on the rise. We've had some big wins down the stretch here as well. And so how it ended up is exactly how I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a dogfight right down to the end. And, you know, in overtime, you know, what can you say? Our guys just did a tremendous job defensively. They averaged 74 points a game. We held them to 60 in regulation. Then they only shot 35% in overtime. And so, you know, just overall, the defensive effort again from our team, it was just tremendous. And to be able to hold a team like that, you know, and even in overtime, they got an extra 5 minutes and still didn't reach their average for the season. That's pretty darn good. So we're really excited about that. And then the play, you know, was our guys know that we trust them. Someone asked me if I ever thought about calling timeout when they made that layup, and I said, not a chance. You know, we talk about these kind of situations. We've learned from that situation. 4.6, I think, was exactly the time that BH had when they beat us earlier in the year. And so our guys knew that we talked about that situation, and that, you know, 4 seconds plus, you can go the length of the floor. And so to get the presence of mind, to get the ball in quick, it actually ended up into Mitch Suker's hands. Even though Mitch is 6'9", Mitch is very capable of handling the ball, as you can tell, and did a great job of maneuvering his way down the floor, drew 2 defenders, and kicked it over to Troy Brady, who had the wide open 3. And if you can see it on film, as soon as he shot it, I put my arms up because I knew it was down. And so it was exciting to see it go through, and it was kind of slow motion when it went through because I just knew it was good. I knew it was good, and I was just waiting for it to get through there so we could celebrate. So that was a great win, which set us up for Saturday. And after what happened Friday night for us, and also equally what happened to Shadron getting kind of handed to them. They'd kind of been on a run, really playing well. Granted, they've been at home the whole time, so this was really their first, real trip out since they've been at home for a couple weekends. And they went up to Black Hills and kind of got it put to them pretty good by the Yellow Jackets. And so for us to come off of such an emotional game that we did, and to play a team that probably was going to be a little bitter and be a little fired up to get some redemption the next day, and knowing that their coach was probably on them, not being very friendly with them, and they want to get back in his graces as well, you kind of call those a trap game. You're riding high and you got a team coming in who's kind of like that lion that's backed in the corner. And so we really told our guys about, we got to make sure we forget about that Metro game, and that's really hard to do when you have a game like that. And to credit our guys, they came out right from the beginning and just had a great start to the game. We knew that they were going to press us. Their press isn't necessarily exactly like what we're going to see this weekend against Highlands, but they do put pressure on you. And they do try to make you uncomfortable, and they do try to take you out of what you want to run. And our guys had great poise. Our turnovers were extremely low against that. And we got out to that big lead early, which is great, but sometimes those shots come so easy early like that can be kind of fool's gold. And then you start getting a little careless. And we kind of fell into a trap there a little bit in that first half, where all of a sudden we started taking quick shots, and that started playing into their hands. They had a guy come off the bench, get hot for them, and next thing you know, it's a 4-point game. And so our guys, we just had a little talk, and we came down, I think, like about 5 possessions in a row where we were taking shots on 0 or no pass or 1 pass down, and which was only about 5 to 10 seconds of offense. And we were going down and playing 25 seconds of defense. And I said, guys, I know we're a great defensive team, but you can like playing on offense. It's okay. So we kind of corrected that, and at halftime we talked about that a little bit more, and we jumped out to that lead again in the second half, but we didn't fall into that trap the second half. We just kept extending the lead. And so that was a great credit to our guys to kind of figure that out a little bit. That's a hard thing to do because, you get down there and sometimes you're open early in that offense like that, but it's kind of the shot the defense is hoping you take, percentage-wise. And so you got to be a little humble sometimes, those things. And so our guys are learning about those kind of things, and that's really, really good to see. And, like I said, Shadron's a good team, and for us to make them look the way they did that day, it was a huge testament to the way our guys are playing right now. They're just playing with such great confidence, and we've really just grown. I kind of say this every week, but it just seems like every week we just keep getting better and better. And I like our team. I don't care who we play and where we play. If our guys play defense like that, we're going to be okay. So we're really excited about that. Obviously, with that weekend, we actually got a Player of the Week honor as well. Mitch Suker was Offensive Player of the Week, and I don't think that's any surprise. He scored 54 points in 2 games, had 32 against Shadron, 22 against Metro. Really kind of the game I've really been looking for him to have. He, as you can tell, he's extremely talented, and still we have not seen probably everything that he can do yet. But he's starting to gain some confidence. He's really starting to understand where his opportunities are. He's not being as hesitant with the ball in his hands. He's being a lot more confident. And that Shadron game was really a game where I just thought he just knew that this was going to be a game for him, and especially for the way it started with him. And he just every time he got it, I loved his aggressiveness, and that's what we really want out of him, is to be aggressive with the basketball every time he touches it. And so, as he starts to develop that, he's going to be, he's going to be a heck of a force to contend with, and obviously he's going to end up being one of the best players in this league. And so that's not really putting any pressure on him, because we've been telling him that from the beginning. And so we're really excited that he's starting kind of that light bulb, so to speak, is starting to flicker for him. And but also at the same time, as we've told our team, is that we get those awards because we have such team success. You don't usually get those things without team success. And so and his teammates have a lot to do with that as well, because, you know, guys are playing well around him, and it's very hard for them to bring help to him, because he does do a good job of finding open guys. And we have guys around him that are making shots. And so when you got that kind of team support, guys like Mitch really get to stand out in those situations. So we're really happy for him with that. Going into this week, second round of our side of the conference. We've seen everybody once now that we're going to play here the rest of the way. And so we started off with New Mexico Highlands, which is a wound that's pretty fresh because we just played them 2 weeks ago. Obviously a close game. A game that we felt like that probably played in all areas good enough to win except for one, and that was turnovers. And so that's something that we're going to really focus on. And yes, they pressed the entire game. And going back and watch tape, we only had 6 turnovers in the backcourt. So the press really wasn't a factor in the game. It was their pressure that they put on us. Because once you crossed half court, they didn't let up. They continued to keep pressure on you. They are physical with you. They grab. They push on you. And those are all things that, you know, our guys are going to have to learn that you have to play through. It's just the way it is. The official will call some of the fouls, but they're not going to call them all. And so for us, we've got to learn how to be able to handle that kind of contact and continuous pressure on us that makes you a little uncomfortable, and just have more poise with the basketball and not make some passes. Sometimes you get a little quick with your pass. And it does take focus, because it isn't something that we see or that anybody else does see night in and night out. So when you don't see that night in and night out, it's got to be a conscious focus for 40 minutes that you're going to have to be strong and poised in those situations. They're at home, they shoot extremely well. You know, they didn't shoot it as well at our place. I think we had a little bit to do with that. We defended them extremely well. But at home, they are a different team. They do shoot it really well, and we're going to have to get out to some shooters. But they create those shots by penetration as well, and we're going to have to guard the basketball one-on-one really well also. Their post player is a good player. We did a tremendous job on him, but I like our matchups with the post players. We got really good posts, and we played really good post defense. So really, it's going to come down to how well we probably guard the basketball. Do we take care of the basketball? And then really for us is just being able to knock down some shots at their place as well. So it's going to be an interesting battle, because they had Colorado Mines this past weekend at their place, and they started the game getting up 19 points in the first half, of the #1 team in the conference. And then they ended up letting that slip away and lost on a 3 in the last 30 seconds of the game to them. So, you know, which has happened to many teams against Mines before, so it's not unusual. But they'll be probably a little wounded with that and be ready to go again. And they're kind of like we were. They're on a 4-game homestand, so they're in a good, comfortable situation. So it's going to be a good challenge for us. And for us, it's just like the boys taking on is that's why we tell our guys, this is why you play, is to be in these situations and to play these kind of games, and not to fear it and don't fear the failure of it. Is that we got to just go out and accept the challenge and play the best possible game we can play and stick to our processes that we continue to talk about that will help us be successful. And so that's really the exciting part of it, is be able to go out and do that. The next night we got CSU Pueblo, as I like to call it, kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team. You know, you don't know which team you're going to see night to night. We talked about this the first time we played them, how they one night only score 63 points, the next night they score 103 points. And that's exactly kind of how they are. And so they've still kind of been that way. And at home, they're probably maybe a little bit more consistent, but they're an awfully talented can't put my finger. I haven't studied them enough to figure out what their problems are. We got enough of our issues at times. But I'm sure their coach is always kind of trying to figure that out as well. They did split this weekend as well. They lost to Mines and beat University of Colorado Springs at home. So they finally did break a losing skid, which I believe started at our place. So they hadn't won since that weekend, the weekend before they played us the first time. And so they've probably developed a little bit of confidence. They've got good post players inside. They got a couple guards that shoot it really well, and they have one particular guard, a 6'5" guard, that on the weekend went 10 for 14 from the three-point line in the 2 games. So he's shooting the ball extremely well with a lot of confidence, and he's a redshirt sophomore, young guy too, and I'm sure he's just kind of trying to figure things out like a lot of guys at his age right now. So hopefully maybe he got it out of his system and the law of averages will come back this weekend. We're kind of hoping in that game. And but it's going to be a good challenge. Obviously, they're going to be a little, same thing, they're going to be a little upset the way we treated them up here because we were not very nice to them. We held them with 19 points in the first half and just said, no, you don't get to score in this state. So our guys did a great job here. So we're going to have to go down there and obviously be ready because they're going to give us our best shot, I'm sure. We're going to see a lot better side of them when we go down there. But with that, any questions? Yes?
Did you go over the red shirt rules? What does a freshman red shirt mean?
Well, basically what a red shirt means is that it's a player that can practice but cannot play in any games. And the new part of that has been in the last couple of years that you can play freshmen in our preseason games, like when we play exhibition games against South Dakota State or we play scrimmages. They do allow freshmen, true freshmen, to actually play in those. So you can kind of evaluate them a little bit more and see whether you want to redshirt them in their freshman year. Some people, like for us a couple years ago, because we were going through the transition, we had like Connor Koulis and some of those guys that had gone through this transition and they wanted an opportunity because we were in a situation where we couldn't play for conference titles or even be eligible for postseason. And so we timed it out to where if Connor actually sat out one of the years during that probationary period, that he could have his senior year be a year that we could actually try to play for postseason, and he wanted to be able to play it. So that was another opportunity to redshirt somebody. So we redshirted him. Between his junior and senior, been his senior year. So
I thought the program said Suker was red shirt.
he redshirted last year.
Well, he was here last year.
Yes, he was here last year. Yeah, and due to an injury, he wasn't. He really didn't even practice. That's what's really the thing about him is that he actually is kind of like a true freshman this year because even though he was here last year, he didn't get to practice very much. He practiced in February, was his first practice, and which was kind of because of the way things were going last year, we weren't winning a lot of games, and then we saw him come on the floor. The first day he was on the floor, he was so excited that we couldn't stop him. And so it was exciting to see that, but it was also a little demoralizing at the time. So, but no, he's a tremendous kid, great talent, and we're happy that he's here because he's going to be a heck of a player. Yes.
I know Alex got a couple fouls, and so what was the young man you put out at the point?
Oh yeah, Jake Anastasia, thanks for bringing that up because I meant to mention that, is that I was really happy in the Shattering game. Jake Anastasia is our senior backup point guard. And, I feel bad for Jake because, we got Alec as a transfer this last year, and as everybody's seen, Alec's a special talent, and he's an all-conference type player. And so, Jake kind of basically went from last year playing anywhere from like 17 to 18 minutes a game to where he plays only about 10 this year. Just because, you're playing against behind a really, really good player. And sometimes that happens. And so Jake has done a tremendous job of accepting his role. He comes to practice every day and competes. And really has embodied the spirit of what we've tried to say is what it means to be a true good teammate. And so for him, in a key situation, we're down, I think we had lost the lead a little bit and got only up, I think we're up 4. And he made 2 great plays and made a couple baskets, got to the rim and finished, and just kind of got a spark going again. And so, just a great testament of what our team is like and what the character of our team is. And Jake's not alone in that, but for him to be a senior and to have someone like Alec come in like that and kind of step above him, he very easily could have put his head down and felt sorry for himself, and that's not the character of Jake Anastasia, and he gets a lot of credit for that. So, thank you for bringing that up.
And another comment too. You took their postman just about one step further away from the hoop, and that really helped.
Well, we always try to do that. We always feel like if you get deep, and we feel that on our side. It's like if we get deep on the block with a guy on our back, 80% of the time we're figuring we're getting fouled or we're getting a good look. And so we play defense that way. Is that we don't want guys to get deep on the block. We want to catch them off. We feel like we can make them pretty one-dimensional once we get them to there. Now there's a couple players in the league that are really good at that spot facing up, but there's not many. And so for us to play the percentages that way, and our guys have really figured out how we like to teach to play the post defense, and and to keep them walled up in that area. And if they have to start bringing more bounces, like Colorado Mines, you'll see here in a couple weeks when we bring them in, you know, they'll try to use 6, 7 literally 6, 7 bounces to get all the way to the front of the rim if you let them. And so for them, we usually have something special planned for them with some double teams and things like that because of that. But not too many teams or players do that. Usually it's 2 to 3 bounces max. And if you get them that far away off the block, they're not getting to where they need to be successful. So it's really amazing, and we tell our guys, it's the difference in that area for post guys. You know, 1 foot makes such a difference, the percentages of whether a guy makes a shot or not. And so we've really enforced that on our guys that just, you know, if you can move them that extra 12 to 16 inches, it makes a big difference. And so, like I said, our guys do a great job. I'm really confident in our post defense because our guys have really bought into what we've been trying to get them to do. Yes?
Eric, you know, with the last couple of weeks, you've played a lot of teams that do a lot of full court pressure. And it's really nice to see what you're doing with Suker, because it must be awfully nice to have a 6'9" kid that you can throw the ball into, whether it's 10 feet in the air or straight up, dribble up, see over the top of the pressure that's coming and get it to the open man. It's just, I don't know why some of those teams stayed in it, because they just got ripped with it. But yeah,
well,
you've really done a nice job with
Shadron, you know, Shadron was more of a, they want to pressure you early, and then they kind of pull back out of it, and then they kind of pressure you in the half court again. With New Mexico Highlands, their whole thing is about tempo. They want an up and down game. Sometimes they'll even allow you to get a layup just so they can keep that tempo going, and hoping in the long run it pays off for them and stuff. And so yeah, no, obviously, you know, yeah, Suker does a great job, and that's one of his, you know, he was actually a guard in high school. That's how big his team was, that he played the wing for his high school. And I'm still waiting for him to come to me and say, Coach, I'm really a wing. So I'm sure that conversation will come sometime. Not that we'd be against that, but he's really good at where he's at, and I think he's starting to see a lot of great options that he has from where he's at right now. But, you know, Logan Ellers actually does a great job of handling the ball too for a 5-man. He has a lot of confidence of bringing the ball to the floor, and when we played Highlands last time, we actually put it in his hands quite a bit. And I really like, for him, obviously he's a junior, so he's been through a few of these and stuff. And because when he was younger, he didn't do this as well, but now he does a really good job of coming to a jump stop, being more deliberate, and not panicking with the ball in his hand. He's really confident with his hand. So it's nice to have your bigs that can handle the ball in those situations, no question.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting about Mitch. You'd never know that he was a freshman.
Yeah.
He's something.
Anyone else? Great, thanks for the support. I'd like to echo Ryan's comments. I thought the gym was just tremendous this weekend, and you know, I know we need to find a way to get that pep band there for both nights, because we get comments from the other teams like, wow, you guys your pep band is amazing, and I'm like, yeah, and not many schools in our league have that, and so it's really good to see them. So whatever we got to do to get them there, I'm all for it. So thank you.
No, they've been spectacular. They are a far cry from the fall of 2014 when there were 12 of them, and when it was 45 degrees and the wind blew, they didn't want to be out there because it was too cold. That has everything to do with student leadership, a little bit of TLC, tender love and care, you know, educating them on how important part of the atmosphere they make, both them and cheerleading. They've been spectacular. The student leadership is great. So we got the career fair going on. I failed to mention that earlier. So a lot of our kids are looking real nice and going and getting interviews and hopefully getting internships, co-ops, and possible job opportunities down the road. And then as everybody stated, everybody's on the road this weekend. Track is at SDSU. On Friday and Saturday. We've got New Mexico Highlands on Friday night at 5 and 7, and Saturday CSU Pueblo 5:30 and 7:30, and then esports Saturday versus IUPUI, as Coach Larsen said. I actually wrote that down. He stole my thunder. And you can catch all that on GoRockers.com, right, Brad? Yep. And if there's any problems with it, if it's on the road and the internet isn't working, that's not our fault. Send all comments to Brad Bloom at SDS. Thank you, have a great day. No, I'm sorry,
Do
Michelle.
we have signing tomorrow? Or
We do, great point. Hey, tomorrow is National Signing Day. I dropped the ball there big time, literally. Buffalo Wild Wings, 4:30 to 6 p.m. We'll have the $5 deal like we do for the lunches. But we have National Signing Day. I think we sent out 28 letters of intent so far. And the coaching staff, football coaching staff, will educate you on who we got coming in. And it'll be a good night. So I encourage you all to show up, and I'll have, Maria will buy the first round of drinks.
No.
Yes, sir.
Am I allowed to ask a fellow fan a question?
A fellow fan, yeah, sure.
Ken,
Yes, sir.
how happy were you with the officials when you saw that palming violation?
I just said, thank you, Jesus. And that was the last thing I said.
Have a great day. Stay warm. Thank you.